What's going on YouTube? It's Alex from RoofTentInsider.com. I just want to say thank you for all of the support and great feedback lately. And all of your feedback actually led me into this video today, which I thought would be extremely helpful for you guys. And we're going to talk about budget hardshell rooftop tents. If you haven't seen my first video on budget rooftop tents under $1,000, go ahead and check that out. It's gotten some great response on the channel, and the feedback's been awesome. So thank you guys for that so much. So I thought I'd have another helpful video, possibly, hopefully, and talk about budget rooftop tents that are hard shells, which honestly is much harder to come by. When you're talking budget, usually you're not thinking about a couple of grand, but realistically with a rooftop tent, that would be a budget deal. You can find them all the way up in the $5,000 range, and honestly an average cost of one for a decent price I would say is about $3,000. But the ones I'm going to offer here today, or not offer, show, are going to be below $3,000, and I personally would buy these if I were in the market for one currently. So with that said, let's hop right into it and talk about the pros and cons of each tent. Now, the first budget hardshell rooftop tent I would like to recommend is the Smittybilt Overlander Hardshell. And this won't be a shock to many of the people familiar with the channel, simply because I've owned a Smittybilt, so I can vouch firsthand for the quality of their tents. But it is super cheap considering it is a hardshell at just $2,199. That is insanely cheap. I couldn't believe last year when they came out with this tent. I was super excited about it, and I made a whole video because I was really looking forward to just seeing how people reacted to the product. Before this tent came out, I would argue the cheapest tent you could get that was decent as a hardshell was roughly $3,000, and they smoked it out of the water at $2,199. Now, the tent itself weighs 120 pounds, has YKK zippers, a telescoping ladder, and a 2-inch mattress. So these are all great things. And the shell itself is made from an ABS plastic, which is an industry standard. And this specific hard shell is a pop-up style as opposed to a clamshell, which you will see later on in the video. So overall, for the price and knowing how Smittybilt is just a really reputable company, I would absolutely recommend this hard shell if you are considering one. The best thing about it is just its unevasive look. To me, it personally looks really good, and you're gonna get the quality that comes with Smittybilt as well. So those are both some things to consider as we go through our list, but this is by far the cheapest hardshell rooftop tent that I found that is actually not skipping out on a lot of those key features like gas assisted struts and all the quality design that you would need. So keep that in mind as we go forward, because this is a tough one to beat. The next hardshell rooftop tent I thought would be worth covering for you guys is the CVT Mount Baker. Now, CVT was typically probably known more for their soft shells, but in recent years they've definitely stepped it up and have come out with a lot of hardshell rooftop tents, and this is a great product if I had to say. So the CVT Mount Baker comes in at $2,495, and CVT is also just a really well-known company with great products and high quality manufacturing, which again is something I'm going to continue to harp on because I find it so important when it comes to rooftop tents in general, as they're supposed to weather the storm, and we put them through the ringer while we're camping. So similar to the Smittybilt, it does have a telescoping ladder. The hardshell design is made from an ABS plastic. However, this comes in a clamshell design. Now, this tent weighs a bit more at 140 pounds, which isn't a terrible thing, but might just need an extra helping hand to put it on the roof of your vehicle. What I do like about this tent, for a couple $100 more, it is rated for 4-season use, and you get a 3-inch mattress, which is slightly thicker than the Smittybilt. And the tent fabric is made with a 280-gram ripstop fabric, which is really an industry standard, but a really good quality fabric. And looking at the website, it looks like you can customize the shell to be either black or white, depending on if you want it to match your vehicle or if you have a preference towards a certain color, which is nice to have a little bit of an option. All in all, if you don't mind paying a few extra $100 for a 4-season capable tent and maybe a slightly more comfortable mattress, I think that the CVT Mount Baker is a fantastic option. I do like that you can customize some of it, and at the end of the day, it really just comes down to it is still a very quality product at a really reasonable price, and that's why I would recommend it to anybody considering it in the market. Another worthy rooftop tent that's a hard shell that you should definitely take a look at is the Sparrow or Sparrow Eye from Roofnest. Roofnest in general is, in my opinion, the best value company. The tents that they make are just super high quality. You don't miss out on any features, and they really don't gyp you on price. They come out at a very competitive price point. So if you're willing to spend at probably the top end of your budget, I would say that it is definitely worth spending the few extra $100 on a Sparrow, and now let me tell you why. So you can go with the Sparrow, which is a pop-up similar to the Smittybilt, or the Sparrow Eye, which is a clamshell more similar to the Mount Baker. And at the end of the day, it really just comes down to preference. There's not a whole ton of pros and cons to weigh there. It really just comes down to what you're more comfortable with. Now, talking a bit more about the features, the tent weighs 130 pounds, has a 7.5-foot aluminum telescoping ladder, includes an anti-condensation mat, which is key in my opinion for four-season rooftop tents. The wall material is similar to the CVT Mount Baker with its 280 gram ripstop fabric, which is fantastic. Like I said, it is an industry standard, so you're not missing out on anything there. The shell is made out of an ABS fiberglass, which is fantastic. It is rated to hold up to 650 pounds inside the tent, which is definitely on the higher end of weight limits, I would say. So maybe if you are a heavier set, or if you're just camping with a family, you want to cram as many people in there as possible, the roof nest is definitely a safe bet because it does have that honeycomb flooring, which essentially just means it's much more durable and stronger, which allows it to hold more weight. The inside of the shell is also coated with an insulation layer, which allows it to have reduced noise as well as better thermal performance. So definitely something to also think about if you are considering it for more of winter camping or just an extended year-long camping. This can definitely be a tent that would make it more enjoyable in those winter months. Now, generally speaking, I do think Roof Nest is a fantastic brand, and if you can afford, close to that $3,000 mark, I definitely think it's worth the purchase. Now, if a friend or family member were to ask me which tent I personally would buy, I would go with the Smittybilt Hardshell Overlander, and that's simply because I don't really need those extra accessories. I'm not going to be camping in four-season weather typically. While it is doable, it's just not something that I'm really going to need all those features and need 10 winter nights out of. So for me, I really don't mind it, and I also do like the look of it. The black shell to me is a good look. But if you did want to have some of those extra features, which I could definitely see being attractive at, having a thicker mattress or a better insulation, or being able to edit the color of the shell, then ponying up a few extra $100 is definitely justifiable. It also comes down to the style choice. I personally like the pop-up more than the clamshell, but I know others that would argue with that. So it really comes down to preference. At the end of the day, I think each of these tents are a fantastic option, especially if you're on a budget and you want that hardshell rooftop tent. It's really awesome to see last year all of these companies really came out with very competitive price points, and honestly, before last year, the cheapest one you could find that was even decent was over $3,000. So while there are some other good options on the market, these personally are my favorite, and I don't have any allegiance to any of these brands. It's really just what I know from my knowledge in the industry. Now, one other one that I would like to add in that is kind of like a bonus tent is the Go Fast Camper Superlight. It's pretty dang interesting. It's only 80 pounds, and as you would imagine, it's more of a bare bones tent, so it's not your typical hard shell, and that's why I didn't lump it in with these other hard shells, because I feel it is a bit different and probably not in the same class, but it is much cheaper and really, really light. So if you're really just looking for a hard shell that doesn't really need to stand up to four-season weather, I would go check that out on their website too, because it is a pretty cool one. So I really hope you guys found this video helpful. Please throw a like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and it just helps out a lot here. But at the end of the day, I just want to be helpful and hopefully have more videos for you coming forward. Again, questions, comments, please enter them below. I'll be sure to get to them and answer anything that I can. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.